we've been doing a few things that you can do immediately now, whether you're virtual or not, that will enable you to get basically people to respond immediately. So
welcome. Thank you for being here.
yeah, for sure. Thanks, Justin, for having me. So again, I'm kind of hopping on here with you guys and going over some of the stuff. I also have a texting platform, but I have a huge slide deck that I spent an hour and a half on. I'll probably pick a few slides from that from my users, Justin. There's going to be one takeaway just to let everybody know that's going to move deals immediately. But I think we got 8 deals in this week, 4 today, and I think 4 between Monday and Thursday. Today's Friday, right?
Today's Friday.
Okay, just making sure.
We're all blending. Yeah.
Yeah, that's why I was off when he texted me, dude. I didn't know what was going on. So it's been a little bit crazy, but we've been doing a few things that you can do immediately now, whether you're virtual or not, that will enable you to get basically people to respond immediately. So that's one takeaway for sure from today. But let me share my screen. It'll maybe help a little bit, make it a little bit easier just to explain like kind of like where I come from. My partner Ashley. So this is kind of what I went through in my slide deck as well. But you can see my screen, right?
Yep.
Okay, cool. So yeah, we basically both come from kind of private equity background. Ashley worked for publicly traded companies, so we did like software for 7-8 years. But anyway, we jumped into real estate and kind of applied all the business acumen that we picked up, especially for sales, marketing. We used to close multi-million-dollar deals over the phone through Zoom. I was using Zoom 5 years ago. So we knew we didn't need to be in people's houses and go in there and that kind of stuff. So from day one, we built our entire business around being virtual. So I'm in Tampa. That's where our entire virtual business model is. I'm going to skip around. I'm not going to go through everything. We currently have an office staff of 7. We're all virtual now. So we do 3 meetings a day, 1 in the morning just to get everybody synced up. It's going to be in one of these slides. So that's the entire team. I have my acquisition meeting in the afternoon, right at noon, and then we have end of the day sync, because if you are not on top of your people, they will just sit on the couch and not do shit. So for those of you that don't have a team, and I take again the page from my previous days because half of my team was remote when I was kind of managing 14 people, regional sales managers, and half of them were in the office. But you have to keep them accountable. Otherwise, look, people will drift off. It's just the nature of the business. So, let me kind of jump into some of the slides here right now, Justin, just so, that's kind of the baseline. Again, we've been doing 7 figures for the past 2 years, 100% virtual. And I don't mean, there's a lot of people out there saying virtual and they fucking do DocuSign, right? That's like, like we're virtual. No, like I haven't been to a title company that we've closed 200 plus transactions at. Like I haven't been there. I've been to a single house. I think my guys have want to go out to like a house or 2, like a month, because they get bored sometimes. It's like, hey, I'll just go over there because it's like 3 blocks away. They're like, I'll just hop over there. So that's the only exception.
And I think one thing I want you to realize also is a lot of people, when they think virtual, they think you got to go to a virtual market. Like,
absolutely,
I'm in Phoenix, you're in Tampa. I'm going to go virtual. Aaron's going to teach me virtual. I want to go to a different market like Salt Lake City. What I'm trying to make sure that the reason Aaron is here, because you don't have to be virtual to be virtual. You don't have to be in a different city or state. You can literally do it in your backyard, and that's really important for that to be
virtual in our own market for 2 years. And I think it's really dumb when people try to go to a different market, and there's a lot of gurus out there teaching this shit that, look, if you're in the market, you're doing deals, unless you exhaust your every marketing channel. Like Phoenix is an exception. Like, dude, you guys are so oversaturated, you know what I mean? Like, that's understandable. It's like, it's a whole different story. But, like even in Tampa, like it could be considered like, like wholesalers, like there's a lot of people here, a lot of gurus, that kind of thing. But like, dude, until I tap out, until my KPIs show me that I'm killing my cost per deal through all the marketing channels, which is another thing I actually want to talk about. I'm not going anywhere else. It doesn't make sense. You have to almost reinvent your business. If I go to Atlanta, right? Or I'm trying to build a portfolio like in like maybe like, I don't know, Charlotte or somewhere else, a whole different story of following jobs. But if you're wholesaling, stay where you're at. You don't need to go and into these markets. I mean, at one point it makes sense, but you have to have some strategy if you're going to go to a specific market, if you're following jobs or something else, right? But kind of what I was talking to my users about specifically was this market, right? I think there's really 3 things you need to do to adapt and survive. And I luckily am doing all 3, or we have been. So like this week we got like, and when I say we're getting deals, You may know this, Justin, and this may be a takeaway for your audience as well. But I don't let my acquisition guys just take down deals, because a lot of people doing deals, except they have a fucking 80% fallout ratio, right? When we do deals, we have a deal analyst. So acquisition guys are not allowed to take the deal down until this guy approves, runs the comps, runs MAO and everything else, and so forth and so forth. And we have an actual underwriting criteria guidelines to pass before the guy is able to shoot off contracts that we'll never be able to close on, right? And we've pivoted, we've adjusted a few things there as well.
Yeah, so you have, let's just say, okay, let's say you're using launch control.
Yep.
Boom, boom, boom. You're the seller. I'm saying, hi, are you interested in selling? You say, well, what do you have? I say, well, before I get there, I'd love to be able to know more about the home. You say, well, and then I jump on the phone. I start talking to you, ask you the right questions, and we won't take time reviewing those yet. And you say, yeah, okay, I think there could be a solid offer here, or solid. You say, yeah, I think I'd be interested in this bracketed price point. Okay, great. So then I hand that deal / contact over to the analyst to underwrite, to say, here's the number that we would make the offer. The analyst then gets it back to me about the offer, and then I make the offer.
Yeah, otherwise, that is correct. It's not going to work for everybody. I mean, it's not a high paying position. We pay him like 3 Gs a month with like a small override of commission. It won't work for everybody, but the takeaway maybe is that if you have an acquisition team, right, they're going to be gun ho to take everything down, and you're going to be spinning your wheels, getting excited about deals, which is what we made this mistake early on, right? Which is why we implemented this position, because Ashley used to underwrite everything, and then we let the guys do their own thing. And guess what? We're taking on a bunch of wood that we can't sell. Right?
That's right.
So even if you have 1, 2, 3, like we have 3 acquisition guys taking deals down, have them fill out a specific criteria. You don't have to sit there and underwrite. It might take you 5 or 10 minutes. If you're running your own business and you're on your operator, you know your own market, it should take you 5 minutes and then understand that this is a go or no go in terms of where the MAO is, right? Because they'll take shit down, you'll chase your tail around thinking you're getting a deal and you don't, right? So that's one of the key things that we've implemented. I don't know too many people doing that, but again, you can do that as an operator. It shouldn't take too much time for you to verify that it's going to be a realistic MAO, and the guys are not selling you bullshit because they, you know what I mean? Salespeople.
I totally do. But this is why I'm having you on, right? Like, people are asking me these questions. How do you, what are the roles? Who's doing what? Like, so I'm glad we're doing this.
Yeah. So let me jump into some seller stuff, right? I think this is going to be what's key. Let me go into this present mode. So I'll skip around again. I was trying to do a little session for my users, like a little bit of education, a little bit of everything, right? So this is what your sellers don't know. Like, we closed two deals today, right? Where they had no idea. And we closed 2 deals off one of the slides I'm going to share next, right? Most of the sellers watch the toilet paper news. They watch sensationalist nonsense bullshit. They have no idea what's going on with the economic, side of it, the impacts, ramifications, the housing market, et cetera, right? So most of them don't know that, look, and whether your audience knows this or not, look, we may be headed for 20% unemployment. This is not me saying it. This is actually coming from the Fed, right? Most of you guys should know this. Average American family has $500 or less in their savings account, right? What do you think is going to happen? I think it's going to be an avalanche of sellers for those that actually are able to take these deals down correctly. I probably wouldn't go to their properties, which is why we're talking about virtual, right? But what do you do? How do you deal with sellers that are dragging their feet? Which these are some of the talk tracks that our guys are using now. There might be some misspelling here because I just copy and pasted from what my guys have been, what they dropped in Slack. I'm like, give me the exact, verbiage they're using. Which is also, if you guys are texting, it's always good to misspell a word too, because it makes you feel a lot more personable versus like perfectly formatted sentences. And that works actually. That's a money suggestion. If you guys are doing texting now and you guys are sending up your initial messages, the more you look real, the more spacing between the period, not capitalizing shit, stuff like that. Those small things, after sending out, I don't know, like 3 million messages, us personally, those things are money, right? So that's one maybe a good takeaway. But letting the sellers know, look, the Fed saying that employment may soar to 30%. If the bottom falls out, the properties aren't worth anything. Look, what I'm telling you is that no one's going to be able to buy your property at a price that's close to what we're talking about now or at all, right? What I'll do is I'll send you some articles so I'm not just making this up, right? Because our job is to keep it kind of like, your finger in a pulse, economic and housing market, kind of hour by hour. So what I'm telling you is that I don't know if it'll happen tomorrow, but if the government's telling us it's going to get
Uh-oh. The man looks like he is frozen. Aaron, you got me? Yo, yo. All right, so until Aaron unfreezes, I've already gotten a couple questions offline about launch control. Here is the link. Yeah, now we got you.
Dude, I don't know what
All
happened.
right.
Sorry about that.
So I just gave anyways, I got a couple questions offline about launch control. I just put the link in the chat for all of you. Keep paying attention to Aaron, but the link to launch control is in the chat. There's a quick survey. Let them know you came. You saw them through Justin, Science of Flipping, something, so they know that you saw it here, and they'll hook you up.
Yeah, and we have a special, it's 12 cents per hit skip tracing discount just for your users. That's one of the things that, you know, you and I talked about, but you guys are gonna get access to this and some of the stuff that even my users don't have access to, which is like my Dropbox, like a bunch of scripts, stuff like that we use. But these are the things that are working now, right? So I probably cut off when I was talking about one of these you know, like tee-ups that we do either over the phone or we'll text these, right? So how do you deal with sellers that are, again, dragging their feet, right? Look, you can keep the properties, don't get affect us, but like what we want to do is we have one last shot here at getting this done. I want you to be in a situation where you didn't know what's going on, you weren't able to sell the house. Next thing you know, you're not able to cash out at all, right? So another thing we use, look, I'm not trying to rush you, just want you to know what your options are. We're talking about a lockdown. And again, especially if Tampa just went into lockdown today at 10 p.m., right? Meaning everything is going to pause, right? So, you know, like I need to talk to my wife, think about it, stuff like that. Look, with all due respect, like this is changing daily. We or, you know, anybody else may not even have an offer for you, you know, like tomorrow, next week, whatever the case is. Totally. If you hold off in a few months, you may not have any equity left in the property or anybody to sell it to. Case in point, the iBuyers, you know about all the iBuyers, Zillow, OfferPad, they're on hold. Realtors can't sell your house, right? So like you know what I mean? And we get really personal with them. We try to be the trusted advisor, but at the same time, be firm with the sellers. And this is how we got 8 deals in this week. But like, it's like, look, dude, like there are no other options. Like we're talking about here, all your equity may be gone. So here's what's been working really well for us. Let me go to the next slide. Using the articles to tee up the sale, to tee up to people that have been either ghosting you, people that have been on the fence, people that have been like, you know, kind of like, let me talk to my wife, like I'm not sure yet. I'm like, we take the tone of like, I'm not trying to rush you, right? And my personality is a little more aggressive if I'm on the phone, right, versus my sales guys. But it's like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Right.
Dude, what are you talking about? Talking to your wife. Like, there's we may not buy your house. So, you know, we still know where things like, you know, this is local, obviously. So Tampa, you know, is issuing a stay-at-home order. You know, the jobless rates may soar to 30%. The home values could fall 35% as coronavirus stalls spring housing market. Sorry, let me go back.
So you're actually sending the link to the actual article when you're texting the homeowners?
Yes, we send them. So we teed up. Let me actually give you case in point.
That's awesome.
Here. So let me put this up. Boom. I think I just screwed up my screen. Okay. All right, that's the response. That's the typical response here. You see my screen, right? So this is like, I think like a couple SEO leads that we had that were like kind of like bouncing around. So we're talking through ColorRail, right? Because they come in that way. So, hey, thanks, Luke. I don't want to sell my house. Just in what time to rush, whatever. Right? So I understand where you're coming from. I don't want you to rush. I do not want you going through the market will drop soon, right? So I'd feel bad if I don't let you know. You may not be able to buy the same price. Shot the article from CNN about how this could be a Great Depression, not a recession. We closed this fucking deal on Wednesday.
That's awesome.
Okay.
Yeah.
Same thing with this one.
This is brilliant.
Hey, sorry, because most of them, again, like most of our stuff is over the text, right? Call is cool, but like it's much easier. So even if we have a call, right? So even if we have a call, because some people prefer text versus call, as you know, right?
Sure.
We'll tee it up. It's like, hey, before we get on the phone, Mary, I wanted to give you an update what's going on in the market. so this one was a little bit different, but like, please let me know if you want to sell, right? This was if you're using launch, this is like in the nurture stage, right?
Yeah.
We hit up everybody with this shit. We set it in the market. This is the response. This is a dead lead, dead deal.
I love it.
So using what's happening now, but not being a fear monger, right? Educating your seller on what's going on and that you're here to help, because most of the other dipshits, like Justin, you've been around for a hot minute. You know, it's a good news probably for most of your audiences on this now, because your competition is not on here, right? Just, you know, if you're like, let's say you have 40% of the dipshits you're competing with are people that like, you know, like graduated whatever course, whatever like Cody Sperber course it just came from, and they've been driving up your price, right? Nothing bad about Cody, but you know what I mean, right? There's like a billion of them coming in every day. And what we have to deal with in Tampa, because it's like, you know, like wholesaler central here also.
Yeah, it's not easy to market.
We have to deal with prices going up, because if you get this dude that nobody's talking about bidding up the MAL, and the seller's like, look, we do all the credibility stuff. It's like, look at our reviews. Here's our proof of funds, right? And we, again, part of being virtual, it's like, look, and hopefully you guys have this, build up credibility online, right? You can actually pay people to do freaking reviews for you if you can't get your sellers to, right? It's called getmorereviews.com. You can go get that shit, right? So we have, you know, 26 plus reviews, 5 stars, right? We have an office. I mean, you may not have that, but like, look, you can send proof of funds. We send all that stuff to build up credibility, but you still have people like, you know, that will go over the MAL, they don't know what's going on, lock up the contract, and then never perform, right? So I think the good news out of that is that 40% of those people will be taken out of the market, right? So back to the articles, right? I just showed you literally the examples and the responses of how these work. You have to be able to use them, and you have to be intelligent enough. This is where the sales aspect comes in, talking over the phone. This is why you don't need to go there. And I'm going to get to the virtual wholesaling part here in a minute. I knew I got to get through everything today.
Well, and Aaron, and this is why I told you prior to the call, I said, I know we had a plan. I know we had like a whole, and I was like, dude, the fact that you've contracted 4 deals this week, or even today, was that today?
Today was 8 for the week. Yeah.
I kind of spilled you out of control, because I know you had it all laid out. And I'm like, dude, I think this is just as, if not more important, because here's the reality. People need to know how to navigate these times, right? Virtual wholesaling is a component of it, 100%. That's why we're going to train on it. But they also need these golden nuggets. This is something that I'm not using. I didn't know you were doing this. I'm going to immediately implement, but so did the audience. So, you know, again, we don't need to go full blown, you know, everything you were going to teach. This is just as important, and we can have a couple of these moving forward.
Yep. So this article, right? And again, credible sources, not, you know, like bloggers with aluminum foil in their head, because you can find a bunch of stuff there too, but use credible sources. Yahoo, CNBC, Bloomberg, which is all the articles I just showed you, right? So this is, again, an economist prognosis, again, from whenever we pulled this, 23rd. We're going to have a shutdown in the housing market. Dude, we send this over. This is like, again, we keep searching for new articles, right? Dude, they read through this. They're calling us. They didn't even respond back. They're just calling us. It's like, all right, look, so like, you guys, is the offer still good? Like, you know what I mean? Like, they're like all shook up. So
right.
Point is, use what's going on now, not to fear monger, but to educate, because here's the other difference that we're making. Because even if we don't take the deal down, right? You want to become, this is kind of like, you know, this is a typical sales one-on-one, right? You want to become the trusted advisor. You want to become a source of credibility. It's like, look, I understand whatever is going on. We have some people like, you know, sick parents are moving out, that kind of stuff. But even if you don't close them now, the fact that you're educating them what's happening will keep you on their radar whenever they are ready, right? So like after all the shit goes down, and we do this all the time, even before this went down, we would use articles about educating them or giving them something for a specific situation, right? So let me go through this as well. So already I think I talked about most of this
stuff.
Have
you adjusted, just because I know it's probably a question, have you adjusted your offer ratio? And I know that you don't sit there and you're not analyzing, but we had to, and I can tell you where we're at, but how have you adjusted this week specifically with everything going on? How have you adjusted your offer?
We're probably somewhere 5% still. We're transacting on the B2C side still. Okay. But here's my answer to that. Like, we're transacting our typical, like, you know, like, what do you guys take it down? Like 75, 80% of ARV?
So all the way up until this, our
Yeah.
model has been 82% of ARV,
Okay,
which is
that's not
nuts,
bad.
right? That's wildly high.
It is, but it's also Phoenix, right? So I mean, like, look.
But
it's,
now, literally, what we've been able to see is our buyers, right? When we're wholesaling, they're buying anywhere from 68 to 70% of ARV, which is
correct.
12 to 14% less than even where our offer, right? So it is a drastic hit.
So that's probably going to happen everywhere. Okay. What we're going to be doing, so we're still taking deals down, right? Current state, right? Because A to B, there's a leading and a lagging indicators, right? A lagging indicator, your buyers, leading indicators, it's a little bit different. So what you're taking it down at now, right? And all of our contracts, like if you guys don't have renegotiation clauses, stuff like that. So like what we do, and again, maybe go back to virtual model real quick. We first, we'll try to get pictures from them immediately as soon as we take it down. So my guys take it down and we'll go back to the negotiation aspect, all that shit. I think we're going to do this a few times, Justin, at least to get everything out, right? But once my guys take it down, it goes through my transaction director immediately. They'll either ask for pictures or a walkthrough, or what we do, actually, we started implementing this now more so than ever. We didn't really try to do this before because it's a little bit weird and need to, but in the, like, on the second call or third call, you shoot a text ahead of time. It's like, hey, Justin, do you mind if, it's like, I know we talked about the property. It's like, do you mind if I actually FaceTime you? And again, you have to gauge the age demographics, stuff like that. You can't do this with like 70-year-old people. It doesn't really work. It may, look, you never know, but you're like, you want to leave the first call. It's like, hey, I might try to maybe next time, if I give you a call, maybe we can try to see if we can do a FaceTime, do a virtual walkthrough. Would that be okay with you? Plus, I know we're all quarantined. It'd be nice to see you, face to face, even though I can't come to your house. So it's another talk track you can use to get them on the phone, because guess what? Your competition's not doing it. And most people will want to see who the fuck they're dealing with, right? So using that has been big time. And then they're going to walk around their camera and be like, hey, do you mind giving me like a virtual tour of the property? It's like, yeah, sure. It's like, I got to walk around and get this thing over here. If it's a tenant, you're like, look, let me take it off your hands. Let me deal with the tenant, right?
Yep.
If the tenant's not compliant, you have their contact information. It's like, look, I know this is a pain in the ass. Just get on their page. Look, I'll shoot you over a $25 Amazon gift card, give you some Amazon toilet paper, whatever it is. Give them some incentive, dude. You'll be fascinated how fast to pick up the phone and tell you everything that's wrong with the property.
Absolutely.
So that's still during and after sales. Can you still hear me?
Yep.
Okay. All right. Just want to make sure, because it says like connection unstable. Just want to make sure. So utilizing FaceTime has been huge, right? But you have to tee it up the right way. You have to tee it up after the first call, and maybe with a text message ahead of time. It's like, hey, just want to let you know, I'll try FaceTiming you. I'll be like, hey, I'll try FaceTime. Let's see if this works. Again, and I would leave off like, it's always nice to see you're doing business with, might help me just to get a better feel for the property, that kind of thing. But after we get the contract, we get the DocuSign, we always ask them to take pictures of the property and send them over to us. If we can't get that, we utilize, I still don't know anybody else that does this, Kent mentioned this in our last boardroom, but we have an SOP. I'd be happy to provide it for your audience as well. But we have an SOP on how to find an inspector. We pay $150 for an inspection company, right? How to find them, how to qualify them, send them this document, and we utilize an inspector, go after, do all this shit for us, take 100 plus pictures in the video and a 4-point inspection, and they'll all do it for 150 or less, depending where in the country. Probably should not pay any more than that. So we have a 4-point inspection. We have all the pictures and videos that we need. So not only are we able to see actually what the hell is going on, if we need to renegotiate, right, based on market conditions, or if your roof is missing, I'm like, Justin, there's no roof. You told me there's a roof, dude. Like, I don't know what to do, but like the inspection report says no roof, bro. So like, that's 10 G's that I'm sorry. He's like, well, I didn't know. I'm like, all right, it's okay. Look, all right, look, so, but you have a credible, it's an official, kind of a document inspection, whatever you want to call it, to be able to not only to adjust, because when you virtually wholesale, people lie, and they lie all the time, right?
Yeah.
It does give you the ability to just catch and be like, look, well, we went through this whole, and you do the virtual walkthrough, right? It should be no different. Like, I think a lot of people try to overcomplicate it. Be like, just tell me about your house. Walk me through it, dude. Get on FaceTime. Have them walk you through it, right? And as you're taking notes, you should have your notes. If you're not, then you're probably not doing it right? It's the same thing you would do in the house. You walk around with a little notepad, whatever the fuck, right? Right down. And if it doesn't match up, it's like your call should be all recorded. Not that we ever use that, but it's like, hey, I remember we talked about the kitchen having the granite counters, but got some Formica on here or some shit. It's like
Totally.
what happened here? Like, I was factoring this into it, but you never get confrontational about it. You just simply use it to balance out the facts. And that's
Yeah, and you're able to use, when you hire an inspector, you're able to use a third-party justification for it.
absolutely.
I hired an inspector, so you know that I'm not coming up with my own numbers, and based around what they told me, the pictures that they've given me, everything here says I can't pay this price. This is why I paid money for the person, is to make sure that I'm accurate on my numbers.
I underwrote the deal with the understanding that we have hardwood floors, and you said you redid the AC is brand new. Like, there is no AC, dude. He's like, oh well, legitimately, we had like one last week. It's like, there is no AC. I'm like, dude, that's
right.
4Gs, right? At
Totally.
least. So if anything, at least that's maybe like a good starting point. But overall, what we're seeing, just maybe like, we'll continue doing this weekly because again, if I can deliver value to your audience or my users. Like, I put this shit together. I'm basically going through my entire model because I think there's 3 ways to survive. And, we kind of touched on a few of them. So one's going to be, it's kind of sad, but it's a knee-jerk reaction, but people will be cutting their marketing like crazy. I think the first one to go is going to be direct mail. You and I kind of talked about this before. I had literally people email me, big operators, right? And again, probably 7-figure operators. It's like, look, dude, like direct mail is gone, right? So they're looking for highest return, highest ROI, lowest cost, which happens to be text, and then whatever else is working for you. Look, if PPC is converting, then stay with that shit until your needle, until your gauge is telling you that your cost per deal is skyrocketing, because your competition is going to be cutting shit drastically. I mean, like, look, direct mail typically is on a higher end of that totem pole, so that's kind of understandable, but we had a huge surge with Launch. And for those of you who don't know, Launch is a text messaging platform that Justin uses, I use. It's my platform. I built it out from the inside of the business, but we don't use it for mass texting. We use it for a very targeted tactical approach. So we apply sales process. So our average text to deal. So if you guys are texting, you should know your KPI, which is text to a deal. 1 to 3K is our average, right? Probably right now it's actually going to even improve even more.
I was just going to say, you got 4 deals today. That number's going down, baby.
Yeah, for sure. And we had a full-time cold caller, because again, you probably want to hit the list both ways, right? You want to upload a retargeted cold call. If you got the numbers, you might as well do it if you can, and text it, right? So we took our cold caller off, and we had a pretty good list, right? Multiple lists, right? And it's nothing like, dude, pull shit from PropStream, mess around with the filters, right? It's not fucking complicated, right? I think you get a free subscription, right, through your link. So the people, because they're locked up and cooked up, dude, they're becoming angry. Like, they're getting angry at my cold call. And like, this is typically like, like the format, the list, and his approach to performs. We put them on text, and it's like, people are, again, this is like a much less confrontational, what we do at Launch, again, versus I think other platforms. And I'm a big proponent of, using quality and a sales approach versus fucking sending out 10,000 text messages, and you got one guy who's going, Justin, I'm your guy. You just burn your list, you wasted a bunch of money. That's what we converted, between 1 to 3,000 texts to a deal. And then we have a ton of training, which we provide in our training section. With my top sales guy, we go through specifically the sales psychology, what messages to use, how to turn around people that are ghosting you, how to turn around people that say like, hey, I get 40 texts a day. Stop texting me. We take those and turn them into discovery calls. So we have all that training that's kind of backloaded and built into the software.
I think, I get a lot of questions from newbies. I get a lot of questions from people that have a big marketing budget, and they're asking me, where should I be focusing my time and my money now? And I keep talking about this service because it's really changed my game completely, right? Like, I can get engagement immediately, where direct mail, by the way, my direct mail numbers have been incredible recently for obvious reasons, I think. So I'm not necessarily going to be giving up direct mail, but I understand people who do. I get it. It is a costly, thing. So one of the things, regardless of someone having a large budget or not, something like this should be implemented in the business anyways, because for me, it's about engagement. The more times I can get, it's like getting, it's like in a sports analogy, right? Like, the more times I can get up at bat, the more chances I have to hit a single or a double or a home run, right? And so for me, this is a utility that in any market, regardless, people should be using it. It's strictly engagement, right? And the engagement's 100%.
Yep. And then, so obviously the best cost source of marketing, again, I don't know if people will be cutting no matter what we say, but if it's,
Oh yeah, baby.
we'll keep talking about this. I think, we went through as much as we can today.
Yeah.
And the third thing is going to be what we just start talking about is pivoting on the B2C side. So talking to your VIP buyers now more than ever, it's like, look, giving them the same sense of confidence and security that you would give your seller. Like, we're still in business. We still got staff of 7. We're still cranking out deals more so than ever. What is your exact buy box? Look, people buy at the top of the market. They buy at the bottom. Like, there are people buying 2 months ago.
Yep.
Knowing damn well there's going to be a correction. Like, we don't know what people buy. Like, what the fuck? Like, why would you buy now? Like, just hold off, right? So they're going to be buying up and down. So most people don't understand, right? Ken talks about this a lot. And if you've been through industry, I went through the 08 recession. I was on the lending side and the mortgage side, but I saw how investors reacted, right? So you're just going to see that psychology kind of happen, right? People be buying up, down, sideways, upside down, whatever the case is, right? You have to maintain those relationships. If you don't, start forging them, right? You can go back and you can, I think like what I can suggest to those people that may not have like this awesome buyers list, right? It is going to become a buy and hold market. There might be a little, like we'll back off. I think rehabs are going to, they're essential services in Florida. I don't know if they are. Did you guys go on lockdown, Justin?
No, not yet. And so escrow, but they did say escrow and title are essential services.
Those are, right. But what I found out from my boy Phil Green in San Diego, so construction, he has like everything, retail and construction.
How many deals is he doing, by the way? This is total side. Doesn't he have like 60 projects going?
He has a lot going on, dude.
Oh.
He has a lot. Yeah. So the good news is that construction, and they're just copy and paste. The governors just copy and paste the shit from each other. Construction, which includes rehabs, that's like falls in that category, title, and we found out inspectors, because for me that was important. I'm like, shit, dude, I want to fuck around with these properties, right? So inspectors are essential services.
Yep.
Realtors, brokers, sorry guys, I'm sure you guys know what the deal with that is. You have to wrap up business. You can't really do that's going to slow down. But I think B2C side, the rehabs may take a hit, they slow down, especially the full gut ones. So be careful not taking down those weird 50 plus or 40K plus rehabs. It won't have the supplies. Like we have one going on now because we're building out a creative financing portfolio. So we're doing a rehab that we're going to basically do owner financing on. Like our contractor had to like go and like bribe like some dude they know at Home Depot, get the last sink out and shit like that. There won't be enough supplies to keep up with these big ass rehabs, I don't think. Just because of nature we are now with what's coming out of each country. China's not up to full production no matter what they say. So I think the rehabs are going to be on the lighter side. So careful how you take down your deals or take down complete shit boxes. You probably will not be able to get rid of them, but it will become a much, much bigger buy and hold market. The good news is that, and I'm sure you know a ton of people, Justin, too, there are billions of dollars, probably countrywide, of smart money that have been waiting for this.
Sure.
They have been sitting around, and it's crazy. Like, no conspiracy theory, dude. But Blackstone exited all their risky ass positions in November, which is right before, I think October, November, which is right before the shit started hitting. Like they like completely cashed out of all, so they became liquid, like they would be getting ready for 08 again. So again, super weird timing, right?
No conspiracy theory though.
No conspiracy theory, but not the biggest hedge fund in the world had anything to do with it, right? And
that's weird.
Like multiple billions of dollars. But anyway, we'll be fine tuning into the buy and hold. So if you don't have the relationships, start finding them. Look, there's tons of lists. I'm sure Justin has content on how to find them. This is not my favorite thing to do, but what you guys can do, like I hate these companies, but like even like New Western or Net Worth, right? If they're everywhere, they'll be desperate for deals, but they do have the buyers. Okay, don't talk to they're just ultra shady salespeople. That's just the reputation they have. It's like subprime mortgages. But get in touch with the branch manager. The branch manager typically will be a reasonable person. If you have the conversations like, look, I'm transacting, I'm a legit operator, I got deals, right? I want to probably deal with you only, and negotiate a fixed price. If you really don't have shit for buyers, at least approach those two, maybe like a Keegley or something like that, and negotiate directly with the person that's running the show, not the shady ass salesperson that's probably going to be locking up the deal and wasting your time.
No doubt. And just, dude, what I'll tell everyone that's still on this call, and I think we have like 100% retention, by the way, which is awesome. So great job. You're going to want, Aaron and I will come up with literally just a schedule. We will likely do 3 or 4 of these. I want to really help you guys understand his business, what he's done. I kind of spun him today because he just contracted 40 today. I'm like,
I didn't get through this is.
There's plenty for him to teach you guys. So I will be sending out more Zoom calls. They will be live. They will be free. If you have any questions for me or for Aaron, why don't you, I'll give you a minute or two just to respect time. He's on the East Coast, right? And so it's already almost 8 p.m. over there. He's a savage. But if you have a question right now, we're happy to answer it. Otherwise, make sure you are asking me anything on social media. Obviously, if you can find Aaron, last name Pimpus, as you see here. Launch control, I know there were several of you that text me saying, hey, what's the link? I put it in the chat. So you guys should all see this in the chat for launch control. Again, there's a questionnaire they put you through. They'll say, where did you hear of us? Say The Science of Flipping. That is my podcast. They will hook you up with that awesome skip tracing deal. But any questions, let us know. I'll give you a minute or so. Otherwise, I want to respect Aaron's time. I know it's late on the East Coast.
It's all good. I didn't know what day it was today. So are you guys hearing anything about going to lockdown in Phoenix? Because that's going to be a big drastic turn of the business as well, or not yet?
No, we literally every day we do me and Chris Hyman do a State of the Union because we're so connected within Phoenix. There has not, as a moment in time, been heard of a lockdown, but I can tell you just the entire market is different. It's a different market, but I'm closing on a deal today, and things are still happening, right? We just sent it out. Buyer came in. It was a good price. The reason why I ask is because we've had just to adjust our negotiation price. So things still move, right? This is not dead. No one's dead in the water. And that's why we're doing these trainings, is because, we're leveraging everyone and everything we can to get ahead of this. So no questions yet, dude. I will let you run. I appreciate everybody. Oh, right as I say that, Mr. Alan Weeks. Holy hell. What up, Alan? All right, what do we got here? I came in late. Sorry, Aaron.
I got it.
SMS and
RVM is illegal. Text messaging is not. So RVM it's probably going to be illegal everywhere pretty soon. It's just a technicality. With text, so our platform is 2 things. TCPA compliant, meaning that's not an auto dialer or an ATDS. So it doesn't just send out a bunch of text all at once. And we have a legal opinion letter from the top telecommunication, TCPA / telecommunications law firm in the country, which all of them actually used to be regulators. So they wrote all the fucking laws, and now they have their own firm. And we have a legal opinion letter from about the actual software. And so RVM, again, it's just two separate things, right? That's just a loophole, period. But same thing as cold calling and texting, because we are not soliciting to market or to, we're not marketing anything, we're not soliciting any services. It's no different than using a Driving for Dollars app, right? Taking a picture of the property, which you can skip trace the person in there also, and then doing it on IA, or just basically doing a instant message to them as well, or messaging them from your phone. It's no different than that. This is just a more convenient way of doing it. But you can reach out to anybody, be like, hey, it's Justin, was driving by your property. I own a couple of rentals in the area. I was wondering if you might entertain an offer. No harm, no foul. If you're not interested, you have to take that approach. So we have copywriters on staff. We basically provide you guys with a ton of content, but no, it's not illegal, because unless you're doing it there's realtors that are doing it, you're soliciting a service and you're marketing people for something at that point. To reach out to somebody And to ask, like, it's the same thing if you're calling Best Buy, ask of like, hey, can I buy this TV, right? It is not illegal as long as you're using a compliant software, and as long as you're doing it for the reasons of trying to purchase a property and not being an asshole in the first place.